Episode 3, In This Together. If you've been with us from the beginning, you already know we've been diving into the ups and downs and delightful chaos of Frank and Carol's blended family. And if this is your first time tuning in, welcome. You picked a great episode to jump into. It starts at home with a parenting dilemma, but underneath it all is a portion of trust, vulnerability, and growing love. Carol agrees to let Dana go to a place called Jake's, thinking it's just a music club. Wanting to trust her daughter, she says yes, but when she casually brings it up to Frank, the mood shifts because Frank knows the truth. Jake's isn't just a club, it's a rough bar. Even this early on, the tension here isn't about control, it's about trust. Carol is trying to honor Dana's independence while Frank is trying to protect them both. Watching them navigate this moment with honesty instead of anger is proof that love is already reshaping how they make decisions. What's beautiful here is how Frank handles it. He doesn't criticize or try to take over. He gently tells the truth. And then he steps back, admitting he hasn't quite bonded with Dana yet. It's not a complaint, it's a moment of humility and respect. He's honoring Carol's role as a mother even when it would be easier to step in. That kind of restraint, that level of emotional intelligence is not flashy, but it's love, it's care, and it's growth. Frank's honesty isn't just about Dana, it's a window into his feelings for Carol. By stepping back, he's not removing himself from the situation, he's trusting Carol to handle it, which actually strengthens their connection. Carol is caught in the middle. She knows Frank is probably right, but her heart is pulled in every direction. Dana's going through a hard time, and Carol wants to preserve what little trust she's built with her. You see, her trying to keep the peace, quietly, gently, even when Dana borrows her earrings to go out. Frank doesn't say a word, but he gives Carol a look, and that look, it's not frustration. It's faith. It's him saying, I'm here, I trust you. That kind of unspoken connection is what makes their relationship feel so real. These moments of silence, support, speak louder than dozens of arguments. Frank and Carol don't always need words. They're building a language of love made up of shared glances and mutual respect. The next morning, Carol changes her mind. She tells Dana she can't go. Dana erupts, blaming Frank, accusing Carol of betrayal. And the hurt on Carol's face is heartbreaking because she's doing the right thing and it still feels like a loss. But then Dana sneaks out anyways, and in that moment, Carol doesn't face it alone. Frank is there, steady, ready, no I told you so's, no anger, just love in action. When a partner can step in with presence instead of pride, that's real partnership. Frank shows Carol that even when parenting is messy and thankless, he's going to stand by her, not behind her. They bring Dana home safely, and Carol is visibly shaken, not angry, just scared, and Frank is right there, grounding her. He doesn't need words, his presence is enough. That night marks a shift. Carol starts leaning into Frank's instincts a little more, and Frank begins to trust himself more as a father figure. There's no big declaration, just a quiet deepening of the bond between them. This is a key moment in their emotional intimacy. Trust is no longer just a hope, it's becoming a habit. They're no longer just adjusting to each other, they're learning to rely on each other as well. Soon after, Frank pitches a classic Frank idea, a family camping trip. He's lit up like a kid on Christmas morning. Carol, well, she's less than enthusiastic, but she says yes because that's what love looks like. She agrees on one condition. If they camp, the family also has to endure 12 hours of an opera. That's them in a nutshell, meeting in the middle, laughter tucked into every compromise. This give and take is their love language. When many couples might dig in, they negotiate. Carol doesn't love the outdoors, and Frank doesn't love the opera, but they make space for both. At Dead Man's Clearing, nothing goes to plan. The truck sings, the kids whine, and Carol nearly loses it. But here's the shift. Frank is calm, he's the anchor, and when Carol nearly eats a chocolate bar in the middle of breaking her kids up from fighting, Frank gently reminds her she's the adult. It's not judgmental, it's tender. It's support without shame. That's love. This is a beautiful reversal. Carol, usually the rational one, unravels, and Frank becomes her emotional compass. They don't compete for control, they take turns being the strong ones. Later by the fire, Carol admits she hates camping. Frank is disappointed, but he listens. They don't fight. They don't try to change each other. They accept each other, and when they get home, Carol makes her feelings clear. No more camping. But opera is still happening. Frank just smiles, because for them, every single give and take brings them closer. Compatibility isn't about them being the same, it's about being safe to be different. Frank and Carol thrive because they never demand change. They offer acceptance instead. When they get a small, quiet moment, just a regular day, Carol's cooking. Frank walks in from work. They talk about a potential client. He's nervous, but she reassures him. It's simple, and it's intimacy in motion. They're falling into rhythm. That night, the family gets caught up recording the perfect outgoing voicemail. Carol wants practical, and Frank wants fun. They disagree. But instead of letting it become a battle, they laugh. They let the kids play. It's another glimpse of how they're growing, choosing connection over control. The way they handle small decisions, like a voicemail, reflects how they handle big ones. They've learned how to disagree without disconnecting. That's emotional maturity. When Frank gets the job, he rushes home to tell Carol. She lights up. They celebrate like partners, not performers. And the next day, when a missed message nearly gets Frank seriously hurt, Carol is horrified. Not because she's mad, not because she made a mistake, but because she loves him. She feels it. Frank, still fuming, smashes the answering machine with a rolling pin. It's sitcom level chaos, but Carol doesn't scold. She understands, she sees him, and quietly she builds a better system. When people feel seen, they feel safe. Frank's anger isn't punished, and Carol's solution isn't smug. They offer each other empathy and improvement. That's how couples grow. Later, when Frank walks in with even bigger news, a contract for 12 condos, he's noticed what Carol did. And in that moment, there's a mutual pride. She supports him, he recognizes it. These small victories are building a strong foundation. Their love is built on recognition, not grand gestures, but noticing the little things and making each other feel valued. But not everything goes smoothly. Frank signs the family up for a national TV segment without telling Carol. She's blindsided and furious, and when everything spirals, she retreats to her room and shuts the door, both literally and emotionally. It hurts, but again, they find their way back. Frank apologizes to Carol, and she forgives him. They laugh, not because it was funny, but because love gives you space to mess up and still be loved. Every relationship has breaking points, but it's what comes after the breaking that matters. Their repair process is what sets them apart. They don't hold grudges, they hold space. Later, when Carol's car breaks down, Frank is immediately worried. He insists she shouldn't be driving something that unsafe. And with his encouragement and the kids backing him up, Carol agrees to start shopping. At the dealership, Frank wants to take the lead, but Carol takes over and lands a great deal. Frank doesn't fight it, he admires it. He's proud of her. That's real partnership, lifting each other up and never feeling smaller because of it. This moment is celebration of confidence and trust. Frank doesn't need to be the expert to feel valued. Carol doesn't need to downplay her skills to feel loved. They shine together. Over dinner one night, Frank tries to survive a meal with Penny's new boyfriend, who happens to be a mortician. It's absurd, and Frank is barely holding it together. Carol, ever the peacekeeper, urges him to power through, and when things inevitably go off the rails, she meets his frustration with grace. Later, when JT takes the new car out without permission and also being underage, Carol and Frank tackle it side by side. Frank delivers the tough love, Carol softens the blow, and together they're unstoppable. Their parenting is a dance, one leads, the other follows. Then they switch. There's no ego, no keeping score, just an instinctive give and take born out of love. Then comes one of their wildest adventures yet. Carol decides to organize Frank's chaotic office. He resists, he likes his shoeboxes and the mess. But Carol gently introduces a new system, even buys him a computer. Frank pushes back. Well, that is until he sees her way works. And just as they're finding their groove, the files go missing, her system crashes, and his shoebox, well, they're thrown out. They started pointing fingers, but then they finally realize they need to do something. They grab their keys, race to the office, and dig through the dumpster together. They're hit with the Chinese food from the building next door to Frank's office. Files go missing. Her systems crash, and his shoeboxes, well, they're thrown out. They started pointing fingers, but then realized they need to do something. They grab the car keys, race to the office, and dig through the dumpsters together. They're hit with Chinese food from the building next door to Frank's office, mystery goo, and, well, they start laughing through it all, covered in garbage, but absolutely in love. This is the heart of their relationship. Chaotic, messy, but filled with joy. They never let the mess define them. They rise through it all, side by side. And speaking of love, we have to talk about their romantic getaway. Frank is over the moon. They're finally getting a weekend alone. Carol is more cautious, making sure every emergency list is in place. But she's doing it all out of love, not anxiety. They kiss the kids goodbye, and the moment they leave, JT yells, "Party!" But we'll save that chaos for later. At the hotel, the dream quickly dissolves. Twin beds, a rat, and a train. But Frank stays upbeat, cracking jokes about why the room will shake next. Carol giggles and heads off to change. But as Frank tries to push the beds together, he throws his back out and ends up crab walking, pretending to be fine. Carol, glowing and dressed for romance, asks him to dance. He tries, he spins her, and then accidentally flings her onto the bed, and she goes tumbling to the floor. "This is not supposed to happen," she mutters, and yet it's kind of perfect. Eventually, Frank confesses to Carol about his back. She tries to help by cracking his neck, which somehow makes it worse. Now, he can't move at all. She decides they should just go home. But first, he asks to watch her change. She tips him forward, but it's just a little too far, face planting him onto the floor. Romantic weekend equals over. Their weekend is a disaster, but their love never wavers. Real romance isn't candlelight and champagne. It's laughing through the face plants with someone who still makes your heart skip, even when everything goes wrong. But when they return home, exhausted, sore, slightly defeated, Carol still smiles at him. The kids have wrecked the house. The romantic getaway was a bust, but they're together, and that's enough. Because that's the magic of Frank and Carol. Love in its messiest, funniest, most deeply felt form. This episode offers another fun and relatable look at the dynamic between Carol and Frank. A blend of support, humor, and those tiny moments of vulnerability that sneak through. From parenting challenges to embracing each other's quirks, from the chaos of blended family life to those quiet moments of connection, Carol and Frank remind us all that love isn't perfect, it's perfectly messy, and that's where the real magic lives.